So we are recording now. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of Before Tomorrow, or
Very
Before
exciting.
Tomorrow, which is how we say it in Canada, the physical home of Legends of Tomorrow. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the mental and spiritual home of Legends of Tomorrow, which takes place here in Los Angeles with the lovely writers, Ubah and Matt, of episode,
Hi, guys.
what is it,
Hello.
512?
512.
Well,
There's a not a conspiracy. There's a belief within certain groups that it's 511 and 512 because the crossover kind of created this confusion, and because in our production schedule is episode 8, but when it aired a part of a piece of the Crisis storyline. But so this is episode 12, maybe.
I think so. I don't know. Check your TV guides.
Yeah.
Because it's still 1987.
Check your TV guides. So we got a ton of questions on Twitter. The problem was almost every question was about Gary, so I had to make sure to edit it down so that we had other questions,
We can answer those in the
totally
after
get
show.
No, I
The
get
after
it. And
show,
it's
after Before Legends.
So let's just get into some questions. By the way, this is in no particular order. Firstly, from Sterling Hicks, will Mick reclaim the fire totem as a way to satisfy both his pyromania and his anti-gun daughter, Lita?
Matt.
That's a good idea. First of all, hi Sterling Hicks. And I mean, you'll just have to stay tuned to see, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely have to find some ways to satisfy his relationship with his daughter, which is, his big thing this season. Learning how to compromise who he was in the past, with who he's becoming as a father. So that's it's a good workaround. I wonder if the fire totem is still out there. We'd have to get it from
Kawasa.
Yeah, we'd have to. Hopefully, he still has Kawasa's number.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. He definitely does. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
In honor of Oba's lovely hair, Emily Violet would like to know, did the whole cast get stunt doubles for the scene of Jess in mascot gear, or did you risk all the actors fainting at the cuteness of Ava in that costume?
Ava in that costume was a work of art. Matt Maala, we kept talking about what we wanted to do, and getting her into that costume I think was a Matt Maala special. And yes. I will tell you, when we were on set, Jess, the thing that we did not have stunt doubles, but what made it really special is that every time we yelled cut, Jess would do some type of routine in that outfit, and then it decimated the crew. Everyone was laughing. And I think it might be, I hope it's in the bloopers, but just her walking out with that bobblehead and the ears hanging out, it's a work of art. She's so talented.
She is. I second that. As are you guys, which brings us to the next question by
hey,
Abby.
As are you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Abby wants to know, are there any fun parts of the episode that you are looking forward to? I know you just mentioned the mascot.
It's so good. How about you, Matt?
There are so many fun parts to this episode. Our director, Nico, he did a great job. So there's just a lot of fun sequences and montages that, they were fun to write and turned out twice as fun when we saw the actors and, production all come together to pull them off. But yeah, there's I don't know if I'm spoiling anything. I think it's in the commercial. The Legends have to start a sorority, so there are some really fun sorority montages. We get to meet Shotgun Nate, which is kind of that's, we find out that when Nate was in college, his nickname was Shotgun Nate because, he could shotgun a beer. And, maybe he reconnects with some of those roots. And I really think Shotgun Nate is the ultimate. It's if Nate was a Pokemon, Shotgun Nate's his final evolution.
And related to that, do you guys each have favorite lines in this episode? Which, by the way, was a question from Lay.
Okay. I have a bunch of moments in this episode. I think this episode is kind of meme worthy for me. There's just, I don't know, there's just fun parts. I love Dion. I love Lita and Rory's story in this one. And then Matt, what do you think about Leah's question?
No, you're right. There's too many. Super meme worthy. That's aspiring writers. You have to keep it meme worthy these days.
Absolutely. We're a visual culture. I have a question. I'm gonna forget everyone else's
Yeah.
question. So when it was determined that the Fates were part of this, and we would be thinking about Greek mythology, what other like Greek things did the writers think about to incorporate? Because I know you have sororities and fraternities here, but like, was there discussion of the beginning of democracy, or the making of feta cheese or olives? Like, what other, what or how was that connection made? Like, hey, Greeks, universities.
I feel like, when, at least for me, and when we were in the room breaking, I feel like Sarah's powers are an offshoot of that. The idea of the person who can see the future, Cassandra, the Oracle of Delphi. I felt like that was kind of like a kind of one-to-one relationship. The hellhound kind of storyline also reminded me of like Tartarus and like the dogs that work for Hades. And I also think like our end finale kind of deals with the idea of what the Fates created and how they created order and how they reject everything that humanity has kind of stood for, which is free will and free love and power to the people. And so we get to see that in a beautiful culmination in the finale, which I'm very excited to see because I have not watched it yet because I want to be unspoiled. But I was on set for one special day, which I can't wait for everyone to see.
Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fun.
Okay, that's great. The by Sharksoul Disaster wants to know, if the Legends were a sorority, how do you think they'd haze their members?
Huh. I mean,
They wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
No, literally no hazing. That's the special fact about this sorority that we get to see. No hazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, well, Mike Chen wants to know, when you're plotting an episode, how do you decide who to pair up with for the A, B, and C plots?
Oh, that's a Maala's question right there.
Oh, there's all different ways. I mean, for the most part, it comes from, like usually we have a couple of emotional journeys that we know we want a couple of the characters to go through. So then you kind of choose, which characters to pair up based on like how they'll challenge each other to get to those places, or just like who would be sometimes just like the most fun to see together. Or, sometimes it's just fun thinking of like characters who, like maybe haven't had a ton of moments together. So it's like dynamics that we haven't even explored yet.
There's also one side of it that happens, like we're going to tell this episode about the ship being broken, and it's going to be 511 in the run, and they're like, who would be fun to have in that situation? So sometimes we'll know what the plot point is, and then we'll just put two people together to see shenanigans.
Totally. That makes sense.
Gary and Gary Jr.
Yeah. And Gary Jr. Lockdown Lucy wants to know, how far ahead did you guys decide what Charlie's backstory was?
That's a great name, by the way. Lockdown Lucy.
Yeah.
I think it was an evolving thing for us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Charlie's had a big story.
Totally.
When we introduced her last year, she was part of our last year, right? Yeah, our magical creatures kind of season. And yeah, it's cool. There are elements of her backstory that were always there, but then there are also things that you discover as you get to know the character more, and as we get to see the character brought to life. And the performances always speak more story to us than we even knew existed.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's also like sometimes with when you see Maisie, you just want to give her such good stuff. And so whenever we were discovering Charlie and we wanted to bring Maisie back, and the gift of having her as an actress allowed us to explore a lot of different things. Like, we saw Amaya as this vulnerable person, but Charlie could be the wild child. And that was the gift of the actor as well. And like being able to discover that we give her a pained backstory, because that's how Maisie was playing her, but she was always on the run.
Totally. That's great. I'm into that. Jennifer Mueller wants to know, will we ever see the Legends in a karaoke bar singing "We Didn't Start the Fire"? Also, we love Gary. Keep having him around, please.
It's so interesting.
Did you write that question?
That feels like you.
No, Matt, it was Jennifer Mueller.
Oh, right.
Jeez.
Like Mueller? Is that what you're saying? Mueller, Mueller? No.
Well, it's a U with an umlaut above
Oh.
the U. So Mueller.
It's so weird to be asking, you know, in a way, like we just finished, season 5 hasn't finished airing, but The Room is breaking season 6. So it's kind of an interesting cross section of like getting questions about a season you're already done with in your brain. And so we have like story things in our heads that we're like, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah.
Right, because you guys are in the middle of a work day right now. This is your lunch break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks for spending it with me.
Should we just tell them what's going to happen in season 6?
Yeah, just tell them. Tell us all.
Let's just, yeah.
No! I don't want to ruin the surprise for season 5. So then if we answer this beautiful question about Adam Tsekhman's future, it's like a very interesting dilemma.
It's true. But both great ideas. Seeing more Gary and singing karaoke.
I wrote the karaoke scene with Rip and Keenan on Wally West in season 3, and
that was great.
It was so much fun, and to have people who can actually sing do karaoke, because I can't sing. It just
what was that? Careless Whisper? Is that what he said?
Careless Whisper, and that was a journey trying to find the right song. I would love to do a karaoke scene with all of our cast, and I think we've even tried to do it, but then because of production timing, we've had to pull them out or. But it's a great idea and one we really do love.
Cool. I'm into that. Venus wants to know, so we've seen the bathroom and the toilet. Can we see the shower now? Ava Lance, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Noted.
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 I mean,
great.
My main concern as a writer on Legends is deepening the bathroom mythology. And so...
That's great.
Matt literally created the whole this like the idea of the bathroom and like the idea of having mythology in the bathroom, which gives us a great deal of joy. But the idea of doing an Ava Lance scene in the bathroom, I am definitely I'm filing that away for later. Thank you guys.
There was another. Oh, Jenna Lyons related to it wants to know. I really need to know why the Wave Rider is so big but only has one bathroom.
one captain. There was one captain on the ship.
Ah,
whole lot of.
It grew.
Yeah.
Right.
Visitors. We would just bring visitors in, visitors out. One captain.
That makes sense. One captain, one throne. I get it. Lancelots wants to know, will the Legends ever have a non-evil dog as a pet? Maybe a pet zombie or any other pet?
I like the idea of a pet on the ship. I don't know if y'all like the idea of shooting with a dog on the ship every day, but...
Yeah, that's a challenge. I mean, I like it, but yeah, probably production doesn't like it.
Watching the behind the scenes of like you and the little puppy just barking at random people, it gave me so much joy. And we had initially talked about like Gary Jr. being like a puppy, like a squeaker kind of little dog. But by the time they picked him out when he was a puppy, by the time production came about and shooting, he was that size.
Oh, really? Oh, that's hilarious.
No, they were like James and Mark, who wrote that episode, it was delightful to read and watch. They had picked a tiny little terrier puppy for you, and then it was like big guy.
Dogs grow fast.
Maybe they do.
So beautiful.
And there is Gary's rabbit out there right now.
Yes, there is Gary's rabbit.
That's true. Gary's rabbit's still there, so we still have a pet.
Yeah.
Grace Greyblood wants to know, what is the process of choosing the name of each episode?
Oh, that's so fun. There are pictures of like 4 columns of one, like Ray and Emily and Leah wrote 513 in our lexicon. And that's the Meet the Legend. No, I Am Legend, right? And then so that one had 4 rows of fine print, I think of Matt Maala's writing or maybe Ray's, of just different titles.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the best part of writing is making up titles.
The titles are incredible. Like, I mean, every week, how the fuck? How the F did they come up with this? I don't know, am I allowed to swear? Who knows? Whatever.
I don't know. I don't think you're allowed to swear on the internet.
Oh, shit. Shucks. Core Slayage would like to know, how did Sarah having foresight come about? Was it already planned that this was going to be her power when you were breaking season 5?
We knew she was going to have a power. We just didn't know what it was going to be until we got into it, I think, into the season. Like, we ended season 4 knowing she was going to have abilities. But once we came back to work, I think in season 5, we started talking about what we wanted and what would be most interesting and thematically lined up with the season and the characters.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matt? Am I close?
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
I love it. Crystal wants to know, how did you guys work out Zari's new voice? Did either of you rush in college? Two very different questions. But...
Very different. Did you rush?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't rush. I went to a school that didn't have a huge like fraternity sorority thing. I went to the Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York, and they're like an art school where like they didn't really have sports, but they did have like a kind of circus class. So it was that kind of school. So there wasn't tons of opportunities to rush. Yeah.
That would have been
That's amazing.
How about y'all?
I didn't rush, and with Zari's voice, that was Tala, but with the inspiration of what we wanted the character to be a social media influencer, kind of like a beautiful version of like, you know, any of those iconic women in, you know, TV and like the internet and reality shows that just basically elevate culture. And so we wanted to have her find that voice, but she found it in such a way that made it like her own and magical. I did not rush. I basically spent like 2 weeks watching a bunch of rush videos though, because like, and basically my YouTube streaming now is basically a bunch of girls from Texas going, "Hey y'all," it's like we're gonna rush, you know, not Sigma Chi, but like, you know, just like five newts or 5 whatever. Like it was just all that for like weeks on end. It was pretty fun.
Did you rush, Adam?
So I rushed. So I went my first year of university. I went to University of Toronto, and I did rush there. And I was in a fraternity in University of Toronto. But in Canada, fraternities are like really like looked down upon. Like it's not a cool thing to be in a fraternity in Canada. And then I transferred to the U.S. And there, it was like all about what fraternity or sorority you're in. That's how you were judged. And I was like, no, I'm not joining. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to be judged based on what. I'll do it when it's like the losery thing to do. I will not do it if it's the cool thing to do.
I hear that. Like, that's fun. I wanted to do it. My school that I went to, basically each school had a different fraternity sorority that had different personalities on that campus. So they were different people or different types of like archetypes on different campuses. Like the Sigma Chi's in my school were like basically the guys who wore Adidas tracksuits and like, you know, did like, you know, really like kind of cool, like, you know, 2-step kind of things. And I don't know why, just like
That's hilarious.
And then the like, you know, just like all these different types of characters. And then the Deltas were like really strong women, but like they did line dances. Like I was in the South. So they would actually do presentations where they would be like presenting themselves in the sorority or fraternity. And that was the fun part. And I was like, if I could dance better, I probably wouldn't. I have rhythm. I just don't have rhythm on like a 8 count.
Not with a full Adidas tracksuit doing like crazy moves in the middle of the quad. What's our next? I don't know if we're going way over time. We're almost done. We're sort of close to done.
It'd be fine. Like we can always edit.
Yeah. So John Martin wants to know, what's one historical event, person, or comic character that the legends are dying to encounter? That's a toughie.
That's a tough one.
Do you have like a wish list character, Ubah?
I mean, for a while when I was like a huge fan of the show, I wanted Booster Gold to come in because like, you know, one like canon, like he was Rip's dad for a while. And like, I thought that was a cool kind of like, you know, time travel collision moment. But historical figure, I would say I always wanted to do like Nora Zeal, I'm blanking her name. She was basically a novelist who traveled the South and basically did like anthropological studies of like different types of people. And so Nora Zilhurston, yeah, I was just cool. She's really cool and just a boss lady, and had to travel the South in the 30s, I think the 30s, with a gun to just like basically get like, you know, archive people's stories about what their lives were like. And I thought that was such a awesome woman.
Whoa, that's
nice.
Cool.
We'll have to put her on the list.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt?
I mean, I know we've already done puppets, but I think a Jim Henson episode would be pretty cool.
Jim Henson would be fun.
He was like Seems like a cool guy.
That would
He
be
was kind of
really cool.
my hero growing up.
Have you gone to
Yeah.
the Muppet thing here in LA?
No, is it open now?
Not now. I'll take
Something's
it.
open now? What?
Jim Henson has an actual show, and I went to it this past year, and it was awesome.
Oh,
And we are
cool.
allowed outside again. We're going.
Oh, really cool. Wow.
You can come too, Adam.
Oh, thanks. Marcella wants to know, will we ever get an in-depth behind-the-scenes look at the writing process? I'm talking full-length episode, but it's the writer's room.
Whoa.
Maybe the actors on the show can play the
yes,
writers.
that part.
Okay, cool.
I just literally felt every introvert in our room just go.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's a hard one to do.
Yeah, it's really hard. Plus, also, you go, if you show an episode of our writing processes, I give you spoilers for the episode. I don't know. But that'd be
Plus,
fun.
you guys swear like all the time, right? So it wouldn't be able to air on television anyway.
I curse. I think there are a couple of us who curse. But, you know, I guess that's kind of the old school New York elements in me. When I was a kid, I used to curse all the time. And then my mom was like, stop it. That's bad. And I was like, okay. But, you know, I still have it in me. Like, it's just, I don't know. In New York, it's like water, you know?
Me too. I get it. I totally get it. The couple of the same questions. Okay. Crystal wants to know, what do you guys like most about writing together, the two of you?
Oh, that's a nice question.
I love that question.
Yeah. But we don't have an answer.
No, I do. I love how Matt makes a tapestry of like writing a story, because like he brings the smallest moments into the beginning of a scene. You don't realize it matters. And then he pulls it all the way through to the end of the episode. And you're just like kind of astonished by how simple it was in the beginning. And then so delightful at the end. And that includes jokes, that includes emotional journeys. I love how he writes Nate. I just love a lot of things about writing with him. And it's just always delightful and fun. And I'm always glad to have that experience.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
Now I'm so touching.
Now Matt feels the pressure to respond.
I know.
Equally glowing review.
You don't have to. It's fine.
No, I love writing with Ubah. I think Ubah is just so attuned to the character elements, and just like there's always surprising emotion that like I didn't realize was there in a story and in a scene. And also the mythology, which is something that, to be honest, I don't always understand how to do. And I've learned so much watching Ubah do it. Because Ubah really cares about the mythology of the show and just like always has cool, inventive ideas of how to pull it off. Also
That's
the
beautiful.
hair.
I want us all to hug, but we
Yeah,
it'll happen. It's gonna happen.
So I guess last question, which is oh no, there's two more questions. Sorry. Michael L wants to know, we sort of know this. Okay, do the actors ever get to advocate for their characters' thoughts and motivations?
Adam knows this answer. Yes.
No, yes. We don't.
You remember there was one time we were, it was like 3 a.m. I was exhausted. And Adam comes to me. He's like, you know, I was thinking for the scene, if I did it, I just popped up and I'm like, I'm back. And I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And he looked at me. I was like, no, it does make sense. I'm just tired. I was like, I couldn't think at that moment. I was like, oh my God. And then at the end of the day, I was like, Adam, don't listen to me. It's 3 a.m. My brain shut down at 1. I love you. But no, the actors understand it. They live the characters. They breathe the characters. They're, you know, that's their family. At the end of the day, that's their kind of like brother that they have that not everyone else can see, and that they know everything about how they feel and live. And so we're kind of like our architects of how the building should be built. But then we love that you guys can put color and like, you know, accents on it and just like make it your own in a way that the building is like a hodgepodge of 2 collaborative moments, and it's beautiful. Like, you know, like it's just it's that's what I love about television. It is collaborative. It never ends with you, and there are times when a scene ends and you're like, I did not see it that way, and it's 1,000 times better for it.
It's beautiful. Beautifully said. It is all a lovely collaboration, which is like what we're doing right now. We're collaborating. It's beautiful. And speaking of collaboration, the last question from Ciara, I think, is, since we all know Sarah's hall pass, who is Ava's?
Oh man, I mean, we might have to save that for season 6 as a, stay tuned to find out. Even
Totally.
though we do know that Ava has a fascination with true crime,
She
so
does.
maybe we don't want to know who Ava's hall pass is.
I also want to say Nico, our first AD, but also director, first-time director of this episode, really, like Matt said, killed it. Like in a way where I was just so proud to watch him do his work and find his groove. And we had, I think Andy Armageddon was directing 11 and Nico was directing 12, and it felt like they should have switched in a way. But I felt like Nico brought such life to this episode, and he had such a touching way of looking at female empowerment and wanted to make sure that people were respected, and especially within the college essence where we're like doing parties and people drinking, do this stuff. And I just thought he really brought his A game to it, and I'm just so glad everyone gets to watch it tomorrow night. It's going to be really fantastic. It's one of my favorite episodes.
That's amazing. I can't wait. All hail Nico. I agree. Love Nico. Okay, well, thank you guys, Ubah and Matt, the brilliant writers of episode 512, Freaks and Greeks, airing to, I don't know when this is going to be on the internet, airing Tuesday at 9 on your local dial.
Yeah, check those local dials.
Yeah,
check those dials.
PVR.
Turn them, find it.
Adam, thank you for being so extraordinary and doing this for us and being such a generous host. You really made it easy, and some nervous writers feel a lot better being in your hands. Very capable.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
A pleasure, guys. Love you. Hope to see you soon.
Watch tomorrow night, guys.
Bye, guys.
Check it out.